In Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, the first thing we meet when we die is believed to be an angel, but not any angel, the angel of death. An entity whose sole purpose is to literally collect the souls of humans who, according to Abrahamic religions, are destined to die in a specific day, specific place, and specific time. However, the angel of death is not a judge, so whether the soul will go to heaven or hell is something that God decides in the day of judgment. Within Islamic tradition, it is believed that after death, we are questioned in the grave by two angels known as Munkar and Nakir, who ask about our faith and deeds. After that, we enter a realm called Barzakh, an intermediate state between the world of the living and the final hereafter, where the dead remain until the day of judgment. In ancient Greek religion, the first being to claim our soul is Thanatos, the personification of death. Then we meet Hermes, the god of boundaries and the messenger of the gods, who guides our soul to the shores of the river Styx. From there, the actual journey of the dead begins, with the soul being taken across the river by Charon, the grim boatman of the land of the dead. This river marks the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, known as Hades. Hades is not hell or heaven. It is the place where all humans go after death, regardless of their actions in their past life. In ancient Greece, the dead were buried with a coin placed in their mouth. This coin was meant as payment to Charon. Without the coin, your soul will be wandering the banks of the river, lost and unable to cross forever. According to ancient Egyptian beliefs, right after we die, we meet Anubis, a jackal-headed man who guides the souls into the afterlife. Anubis is neither good nor evil. He is simply doing his job. He guides the dead and weighs their hearts against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of justice, to determine their fate. If the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul is deemed pure and allowed to continue its journey. If the heart is heavier, it is judged as wicked and devoured by Amit, a terrifying chimera demon, causing the soul to perish into nothingness. Meanwhile, the pure souls journey toward the field of reeds, an eternal, idealized version of Egypt, with endless clear skies, endless food, and no pain. In Hinduism, Buddhism, and other Dharmic religions, the afterlife is not a journey to a single destination, but an endless cycle of reincarnation. And this is where Yama, the god of death and judge of the dead, takes on a very important role in the journey of the soul. Yama judges the soul upon death and determines what and where you will be in your next life or next reincarnation. After death, consciousness does not simply disappear. It moves into another state of existence, determined by the actions of the previous life. In Buddhist tradition, the journey after death involves facing Mara, an inner demon and external tempter who exists within each of us, personifying psychological traps and internal obstacles such as desire, fear, greed, and lust. It is this force that keeps us trapped in the cycle of rebirth, preventing us from reaching the ultimate spiritual liberation known as nirvana. In some Dharmic traditions, the afterlife is described as a series of visions shaped by karma and the mind, where we experience dreamlike realms that reflect our inner nature. In other words, heaven and hell are already there, within our minds. In Zoroastrianism and other ancient Iranian beliefs, the first being you encounter after death is a reflection of your own life, personified as a female spiritual guide known as Dana. In a way, she represents our conscience and deeds. To the righteous, Dana appears as a beautiful young maiden, while to the wicked, she appears as a hideous old woman. Right after death, Dana comes to guide the soul across the Chinvat Bridge, a bridge that separates the world of the living from the afterlife. Then the righteous are guided to the house of song or paradise, while the wicked are led to the house of lies or hell. In Chinese folk religion, the transition between life and death is managed by the Heibai Wu Chan, or the white and black impermanence. These two deities serve as the spiritual police, responsible for arresting the souls of the dead and escorting them to the underworld for judgment. The white guard represents the Yan, the peaceful side of death, and appears to the virtuous. On the other hand, the black guard represents the Yin, the harsher side of divine judgment, and appears to the wicked. Together, the white and black guards ensure that every soul, whether virtuous or evil, will receive a fair judgment in the afterlife. Once there, the soul is judged by the 10 courts of hell based on its deeds in life. The virtuous are rewarded, while the wicked undergo specific punishments to cleanse their sins. Eventually, most souls are destined for reincarnation. However, before rebirth, they drink a magical soup that erases all memories of past lives to ensure a fresh start in the next cycle. In ancient Norse religion, when a person dies, the soul journeys across Gjallaribru, a bridge spanning the river Gjul, which was believed to separate the world of the living from Helheim, the Norse realm of the dead. Helheim was not a place of moral judgment. It was simply another realm where many of the dead continued their existence. Upon crossing, the dead encounter Mothgudir, a mysterious female guardian who asks them their name and purpose before allowing them to pass. Not all souls shared the same fate in Norse religion. Warriors who died bravely in battle could be chosen by the Valkyries. The Valkyries are supernatural maidens who decide which fallen warriors are worthy of entering Valhalla, the Hall of Heroes, ruled by Odin, the king of gods. In Shinto belief and Japanese folklore, when a person's life comes to an end, a spirit of death called Shinigami appears to invite them to the afterlife. The soul then travels to the Sanzo River, which is the boundary between the living and the dead. After the soul crosses the river and faces the judgment of King Imma, it is assigned to one of the 6 realms of existence based on the actions of its past life. While some may achieve enlightenment and reach the Pure Land, a realm of eternal peace, most souls are destined to return to the world in a new form. Whether as a human, an animal, or a spirit, it is all based on the deeds of their previous life. In Korean tradition, there are messengers of the afterlife called Chosen Sacha. They are agents of the gods of death who carry a red scroll containing the names of those scheduled to die in a specific day and time. Their job is to summon the souls and accompany them on a journey through the dark mists of the afterlife to reach the gates of judgment. From there, the soul's journey follows a path similar to that of Chinese and Japanese beliefs. In Celtic mythology, death itself was sometimes announced by terrifying supernatural beings, most famously the Dullahan. The Dullahan is a headless rider believed to appear before a person's final moments. According to legend, once the Dullahan calls someone's name, their death soon follows, signaling that their soul is about to pass into the mysterious Celtic otherworld, a mystical world inhabited by fairies and gods where the dead continued to exist. In Aztec religion, right after death, a mysterious dog-headed god known as Xolotl appears to guide the dead, leading them across a deep, wide river to reach Mictlan, which literally means the place of the dead. The journey through Mictlan was believed to take 4 years and required the soul to pass through 9 different levels of the underworld. Along the way, the soul would face dangerous trials before finally reaching its place of rest in the deepest realm of the underworld. Unlike many other beliefs, the Aztec afterlife was not based on moral judgment and had no concept of heaven or hell. Instead, a soul's destination depended on how the person died, with Mictlan serving as the final resting place for those who died of natural causes. In ancient Mesopotamian beliefs, when your time on earth ends, the first entity you encounter is Namtar. Namtar is a minor god or demon that acts as the vizier and messenger of Ereshkigal, the queen goddess of the land of the dead. Namtar's name literally means destiny, and when he comes for you, it means that your thread of life has been cut by the gods, and your journey to the land of the dead begins.